welcome to Greg Mortis's Little World of Horror. This is another Slash from the Stash movie review. It's actually Labor Day, so I want to, anybody that's on vacation today, man, hope you're having a great one. Hope you're keeping it safe and real. For those that are having to work, man, I'm sorry. Happy Labor's Day to you anyways, but we are going to be looking at a flick that just came out recently. I believe it was August 21st when it released, and I picked it up at Walmart, and it is a movie called Lost After Dark. And this movie is released by Anchor Bay, and I thought I'd go ahead and do a quick review of this one. For those of you who may be going to your local Walmarts or Best Buys, and you're seeing the cover and you're wanting to know what it's about, is it worth picking up, whatever, and you're like, Greg Mortis, I need to know. Well, I'm here for you, buddy, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. First off, love the cover art of Lost After Dark, man. I think it's an amazing artwork here with some teenagers, a freaking meat cleaver looking hook, and just it's such a retro look that it's awesome. Lost After Dark was directed by Ian Kessner, also written by Ian Kessner and Bo Ransdell. And from what I'm reading, they were huge and are huge horror fans in themselves. So really cool to see that when you get into a horror flick today, that you got genre fans that are making these flicks. Man, I always love to see that. And this is definitely an 80s throwback. This movie is supposed to be set in the year 1984. And they kind of pull it off. I've got to say, I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off so I can read, but I'm going to just read the plot off the back of the DVD box. Like I said, I picked this up at Walmart, got the slipcover case, and I'll be honest, I'm probably going to pick this up on Blu-ray as well. But a couple little tags on here. Lost After Dark, and you thought the 80s were dead. Culture Crypt said retro 80s horror done right. And Dread Central said the best 80s slasher film that wasn't filmed in the 80s. And let me go ahead and read the plot, and I'll tell you what I thought about it. It's Spring Ball, 1984, and Adrian, played by Kendra Timmons, straight A student, joins her quarterback crush, Sean, and some friends, and sneaking out to a high school dance for some unsupervised mayhem. And the teens' party plans hit a snag when they run out of gas on a deserted road. They head out on foot and discover a rundown farmhouse where they hope to find help, but instead find themselves at the mercy of Junior Jode, cannibal killer from an urban legend. After the brutal murder of one of the friends, the group's quest for help becomes one of a survival. Will anyone survive the night? And that is your plot. And I've got to say right away, I'm going to try to get this up close to where maybe you can see the back of the DVD box. I think it's a really, really cool images there, and of course the flick itself. Right away, some of the stars of the film, Sarah Fisher, who plays the character Lori, Junior Jode, who we find out is the killer, the cannibalistic killer, is Mark Wiebe, or Wiebe, W-I-E-B-E, and Toby is kind of the heavyweight stoner. He's Jesse Camacho. And you have, of course, the great Robert Patrick plays Mr. C. He's the vice principal in this flick. You'll know Robert Patrick, of course, from Terminator 2 and so many flicks and TV shows. And also, someone you may not recognize or may have not recognized, but now that I'm telling you, you need to go back and check it out. The sheriff in this flick is played by, and I'm going to call it a cameo because, man, I respect this man so much, but it's Rick Rosenthal, who directed the original Halloween 2 and also Halloween Resurrection. So a little cameo from Rick Rosenthal, which I thought was amazing. And so if you've watched it, you didn't see that, go back and watch it again and look for the sheriff and see Rick Rosenthal. So I thought that was a cool little cameo put in, obviously, from the director and writer. Obviously some big fans of Halloween, no doubt. But once again, set in 1984, group of teenagers coming out of their ball, and they basically steal a bus, and they're going to this farmhouse of the main girl's I guess it's like a family member or something, but it's a cabin. But unbeknownst to them, the bus runs out of gas, and there they go afoot trying to find help, and they find help in this big cabin house that ends up being the wrong place to be at. What I like a lot about this film is first of all the 80s feel of it. What I loved so much in the 80s slasher films was the cheese of it. You had to have good kills, but you also had to have the cheese moments. And I thought Lost After Dark definitely pulled that off. You definitely got your cheese moments, along with some pretty great kills in this one. Some really good gore effects. I won't give you any of those away, but definitely has some really cool gore effects. So I was really impressed with that. Don't know that they had any CGI. If they did, it was nothing I really noticed. It looked pretty much all like practical effects, so I really appreciated that. And also the acting, I thought as a whole was pretty good in this one. Much like the 80s slashers films, you weren't looking for outstanding acting. Most of the time you were looking for great kills or a great killer, and this one's of no exception. The acting was pretty strong. Not outstanding, but I thought all the actors done their parts well. You had your jocks, you had the whores, you had the straight A virgin, and you had the different characters. So they definitely pulled out all the aspects of an 80s slasher film. They definitely did that in this one, playing great homage to it without so much as taken away from it. Is it kind of spoofy? Yes, but it's spoofy in a good way. It wasn't distracting or trying to poke too much fun at it. It just seemed like maybe Ian and Bo both are huge fans of the genre and decided to do a fan film is basically what it felt like. Once again, the kills were really cool. I thought the killer looked decent. Definitely had some cool killing utensils that he used. I won't give away any of those. Felt like the movie, it's only 89 minutes long, which is fairly normal for a horror flick, and I thought it rolled well. I thought the pace was up. You had a little bit of character building, but then once, the bus breaks down, then it kind of gets balls to the wall, so I appreciated that. I felt like the setting, now this was filmed in Ontario, Canada, from what I'm reading, and the cabin that's used in this one is basically like an old farmhouse, and I thought it was creepy as hell, not only from the outer elements of the house itself, but I felt they really nailed going inside. Something I've always been a huge fan of is giving us settings to where you just don't see like an outer shell, but when you see this humongous house, and this was a big farmhouse, I don't just want to see the shell, I want to see inside, and they nailed going in with some of the scenes where they had to go adventurous, and they were able to take you down in the cellar and different rooms of the house. So I really dug that they took us to different places of this home. I thought the set decoration was perfect. It definitely had, the cobwebs and the dirty feel of old farmhouse, but the clothing and the talking and the different things of this film definitely felt like I was in the 80s, all the way to a Walkman with headphones that I thought was cool. And the car that Robert Patrick drives is freaking the bomb. So, the movie rolled really well. One thing also I really liked, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, especially major spoilers, but so many times I think when doing slasher films, I think there is a pattern, of course, when doing a film like these. You have your set points, your marks that you make, and this one I felt like they kind of broke the mold a little bit in that I'm trying to be really political here, politically correct. I don't want to say anything to give it away, but there was some kills that were shocking, let's just say that. So I really appreciated that they took the mold and kind of changed it a little bit for this. There's a couple kills that'll have your jaw drop and a little bit like, ah, shit. It's one of them deals, so I appreciated that as well. That's some of the goods. I thought it did look good. The cinematography looked really good. Some of the music, I thought the score itself was decent. They tried to throw in a bunch of background music that was, they were obviously trying to keep with the 80s, one with a rap song and some different things, and it kind of had the 80s feel, but some of the undertow of it, some of the, almost harmonic and, I guess, orchestral style, as far as the music, I thought was pretty good. It's not an outstanding soundtrack that I would absolutely want to own, but I thought it was decent for the flick. Once again, the gore effects really good, the acting decent. The feel of the film was definitely really good. I'm happy to have this one, and I definitely want to get it on Blu-ray. And I thought some of the negatives in it was there is a scene that I will not give away, but I will tell you, you will know it right away about midway through the film. Really, I thought felt like a cop-out to me. Really irritated the crap out of me. Don't know why they did it. I just felt like it hurt it. It didn't need to be there, and they did it. So if you've watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched it and you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about when it happens. I really am really curious to know why they did it, because it really just did not help this film. It hurt it for me. But other than that, I thought everything else was pretty spot on it. Once again, the acting was really good. So for me, Lost After Dark, once again, Walmart, under $10. This one had the slipcover case, which I thought was outstanding. Loved it. Didn't see any bonus features, which kind of hurt it for me as well. I'd love to see a behind-the-scenes making of or some outtakes or something like that. But for the film itself, I thought it's really, really fun to watch, especially if you were an 80s slasher fan. I think you should definitely own this one. So, do I recommend it? Absolutely. I think you should go ahead and go out and get it now. Go ahead and pick it up on I think Best Buy has it for like $9.99 on Blu-ray. Wish I would have known it at the time, but I was at Walmart at the time, so I went ahead and picked up the DVD, not knowing if it would have a Blu-ray release. So I will be going back and getting the Blu-ray of it as well. So yeah, Lost After Dark, well worth the watch. Look for Robert Patrick, always knockout, great actor, and look for the cameo of the sheriff. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, he is the sheriff, and it's Rick Rosenthal from the Halloween franchise. So definitely check that out. So for me, Lost After Dark, Ian Kessner and Bo Ransdell, I'm giving you a thumbs up, buddy. Great job on this. To all the acting, keep it up, man. I hope to see you guys and gals and some more things. Really looking for some more stuff out of Ian and Bo. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and let's see some more flicks like this. Lost After Dark. I want to see some more throwback 80s slashers films, and doesn't necessarily have to take place in the 80s. I'm glad this one did, but give us some good slashers, so I'm glad to have this one in the collection. Go get it. So for me, I'm Greg Mortis. This is my little world of horror, and once again, it is Labor Day, and I'm signing out. I got a couple more reviews to come up with this week, so stay tuned for that. Tune in to Land of the Creeps. Once again, my podcast, which is landofthecreeps.blogspot.com. You can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher for free, or head over to the site. As I'm recording today on Labor Day, we got our new episode tonight that we'll be recording that will release next week. And it's a tribute to the great horror legend and icon, Wes Craven. So we're going to talk all Wes Craven. Very excited to do that. And so I hope you'll tune in next week to that episode. In the meantime, go ahead and check out all the other ones. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Give me that comment down below. Let me know what you thought of it. If you haven't subscribed to me, I'd really appreciate you doing that and sharing the love. So for me, I'm signing out, and I'll see you on the flip side. Peace!